Hello, my royal lovelies. Welcome back to the channel, and as always, welcome to my home. Today, I want to talk about the ongoing saga of Prince Andrew, Royal Lodge, Adelaide Cottage, William and Catherine. What is going on? I'm going to give you all the latest lowdown and rumblings and musings that I possibly can. So this is an ongoing saga. I have spoken about this multiple times on this channel over the past couple of years, and it seems like it's kind of making some kind of culmination. It's culminating in something, but Andrew claims that he's staying put at Royal Lodge. So let's go back, let's backtrack and sort of contemplate the whole saga. So the story begins with the passing of the late Queen Mother. So this is Queen Elizabeth II's mother, for those of you who may be living under a rock and didn't know. So I'm trying to keep this really, really simple, almost as if an alien came down and watched this video, that they would be able to understand it and follow it. So the late Queen Mother, one of her homes, of course, she lived at Clarence House in London, where the King and the Queen now currently live. Which is right next to Buckingham Palace, pretty much, part of St James's Palace complex. That was her London home. She also had a Windsor home, which was Royal Lodge. Now, this is a multi-bedroomed white mansion, and it costs a lot of money. The upkeep on it is quite a lot of money, but Andrew moved in after her passing. He moved in on the terms of a lease. So this was not a grace and favour home. He's not living there just because he was a working royal. He's there because he paid the lease. Now, the lease is 75 years. So he's already into that lease, but, no way near the 75. So this is a watertight lease, not unbreakable even for the King and the Crown Estates. So as long as Andrew keeps to the terms of the lease, and I don't care what anyone else says, nobody on the internet knows what the terms of the lease are. This is a private lease agreement between the Crown Estates and Prince Andrew. We do know a few loose details that were revealed, some of them revealed during from the outlines of the late Queen Mother's will, and some of them we just know. So we know that it was 75 years. We know that he paid money up front for that lease, and as part of the lease, part of the terms were that he pay, I think it was £7.5 million at the time, to renovate the property and then obviously upkeep the property. So depending on whether or not the terms of the lease include a maintenance clause, which I imagine they would do to a certain degree, then, as long as he keeps up his obligations, he's entitled to stay there. So on a moral grounds, I suppose you could say that William and Catherine, have more of a need for the space of Royal Lodge rather than the much smaller Adelaide Cottage. Adelaide Cottage is still a fine and handsome and elegant, country estate cottage. I mean, it's larger than a cottage. When you think cottage, you think tiny, minute, and it is one of the smaller, cottage properties on the estate. It is certainly the Wales's smallest property that they reside in, but it's also their main home. And of course, with 3 growing children, potentially more space could be needed. I don't think William and Catherine are necessarily really angling for Royal Lodge. I think they are quite happy in Windsor, in Adelaide Cottage, but there is this big Royal Lodge. Andrew and Sarah, Sarah shares it with Andrew. And of course, Beatrice and Eugenie have grown up, have their own homes. So Andrew and Sarah are basically rattling around this huge mansion, which, the press have pulled up on, is looking a little bit worse for wear. But I did zoom in on the pictures. We saw peeling paintwork and scaffolding up. I was in Windsor last year and I did see scaffolding then as well, and they were doing repair work to the roof. So I think it is... I think it's an untruth to say that Andrew is not maintaining the property. He he is. I've been there, and just last year, I think it was last March, I saw work being undertaken on structural work to do with the roof. So he is doing work on it. What we saw in the press recently was peeling paintwork from a gatehouse. It wasn't even the main Royal Lodge house. This was a gatehouse or an entrance house, and there was peeling paintwork. But it is just peeling paintwork. It's not anything structural. So, a lick of paint would soon sort that out. So I think sometimes when they show peeling paintwork, it looks a lot worse than it actually is. So let's get back to this watertight lease. Andrew does not have to go. The king can, shout as much as he wants to. Anyone can. The press can keep going on at Andrew. But he's entitled to stay in that Royal Lodge for as long as he maintains the terms of the lease, which I've just said we don't know in the entirety what they are. So the fact that Andrew hasn't budged, I think, shows that, he is keeping to the terms of the lease. I myself have seen work being undertaken with my own two eyes, not anyone else's. So he is unmovable if he doesn't want to. But there has been talk in recent days, I think, of a bit of gentle persuasion from the king. And the gentle persuasion comes in the form of money. Money is all important. Money is key. Money is king, even for the royals. So Andrew needs to be able to afford to live. And it's not just the maintenance work, it's the running costs, the electric, the gas, security. Now, we know that Andrew is no longer a working royal. And we also know from the ongoing Prince Harry saga that you cannot pay for your own royal protection security. But what is happening is that Andrew is taking advantage of the wider security of Windsor Great Park, which Royal Lodge fits in. So he does have protection when at home because of it being in Windsor Great Park. So that's one point. Now, we have seen Andrew when he leaves the estate, with security. So where are these security coming from, I hear you cry? Well, like we know, you cannot purchase security. You can purchase regular security, but you can't purchase royal protection serving officers. But what you can do is you can pay for ex-servicemen. You can pay for ex-royal protection officers. And I think that is what the king is doing, or has been doing. Well, the late Queen was doing, and then King Charles picked up on. So the king is paying for security for Prince Andrew. Not only the wider royal protection of Windsor Great Park, but when he leaves. But it's not serving officers. So before people say, oh my goodness, this is double standards, Harry can't buy his security. Well, Harry wants to buy serving officers, serving current royal protection. What the king is doing is buying, I believe, ex-servicemen for that protection purpose. He did the same. He did the same with Camilla before Camilla married into the family. King Charles paid for, ex-royal protection for her. So he's doing the same, I believe, for Prince Andrew. So the rumours are that the king is trying to say, well, you're no longer a working royal, therefore I'm going to have to cut your budget. So the budget, his allowance, if you like, has already apparently been halved, if you believe that story. So that's put a financial pressure on Andrew. Plus now the added cost of maybe Andrew paying for the ex-royal protection for himself, which then adds another layer of costs. Plus the maintenance costs of the building, plus the running costs. Andrew himself is not working. So there is a pressure. Sarah has been working and has been, by her own admission, supporting the York family. And, she feels like it's an honour and a privilege for her to be able to support the family rather than the other way around. So, Sarah is always an open book, very refreshing. So I like that honesty. So we know that, that she is supporting the York family. But Andrew has not written a book or, had someone else ghostwrite a book. He hasn't done any other TV interviews for money. He's not done Oprah. He's not done any of these things to try and make some money. So the financial pressure is on. And if it is true that King Charles is really pushing with the financial pressures, then, Andrew, although he may remain steadfast to stay in Royal Lodge, how sustainable is it long term when he doesn't have that source of income coming in? So yes, I think the financial pressure is definitely on. What's also been spoken about is that King Charles is offering, I suppose, a settlement package. So what's being mooted is that Andrew will vacate Royal Lodge in favour of William and Catherine moving in, and then Andrew moves to another property. Now, I don't know whether that will be Frogmore Cottage, Harry and Meghan's former home, or whether it would be somewhere else entirely. I don't know. I mean, I've always thought Wood Farm on the Sandringham estate, that's the home where the late Duke of Edinburgh spent a lot of time in retirement. That could be a nice home for Andrew and Sarah, because I'm sure Sarah will go in tow wherever Andrew goes. But people are talking about Frogmore Cottage. That does remain empty, and its future is sort of undecided at the moment, which is a bit of a shame considering it had all of that money spent on it. So, we have a vacant property that could do with an occupant. I mean, I've always thought maybe Beatrice or Eugenie could potentially take it on. Don't know. I mean, they do have their own homes, so I don't know. But anyway, what people are thinking is that Andrew could move out of Royal Lodge, go into Frogmore as at least one option, and then the king give him, I suppose, out of the king's private income, an allowance, a decent allowance to live off, so that Andrew doesn't need to go and do any show and tell kind of deals to make money, a la Harry and Meghan style. So in a way, the king's thinking, well, I can house you, I can give you an income in exchange for, relative silence and, you kind of going into the background and sort of fading into obscurity, which I think would be the perfect scenario for King Charles and Prince William. So yes, it's an ongoing saga, and I think, this is where we're at. We're at the moment where Andrew is still resolved to stay put, and the king applying the pressure. So I'm sure this story will develop over time. Please let me know in the comment section what you think about all of this. So a quick one before I go. What I've decided to do in terms of posting videos, I've decided to go 3 times a week. Monday, Wednesday and Friday is my aim. I'm hoping to complete that. Yeah, I'm aiming for Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and the release of the video will probably be maybe 4 p.m. UK time. It's very difficult to find a time that suits everybody. A quick run through of the jewellery today. I'm not wearing a tiara, it's hot and I've got a headache, so I'm tiara-less today. I do have a replica of Queen Elizabeth's flower basket brooch on. I love this one, very summery. And I have one of my own Baroque pearls, a pearl pendant. It's a rather large pearl. It's a real one. This is real. This is not a fake. Not a replica, but it's a large Baroque pearl. So thank you for watching this video. If you've enjoyed it, please give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to share on social media, and of course do hit that bell so that you know whenever I upload a new video. So from me, mwah, to you all, and goodbye.